Hmm. 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 Connor, hello. Welcome. How's the ice? Okay, I think we're live. I think we're doing it. It's impossible to tell. Matthias, welcome. Julian, welcome. Liam, Celestial. Quacko, Clemens, Julian, another one. You guys are gonna have to get together and come up with a name with a unique hash. Hello, owner. Always more pain. There is nothing but pain in what we do. That's why we do it. No one else is going to do it. Right, plan for today. I've been a little bit off stream again, just because I've had some time since the video's been done, and I've actually kind of just been enjoying sitting down doing some C++ as well on that. I think, I'll show you what I did, what I've done in a minute. I think my goal going forward for off-stream work is basically just like editor quality of life stuff, because it makes the other stuff we do so much easier, but it's not particularly, I don't know if it's particularly engaging to do live. It's just kind of like busy work. I think obviously adding new features to the UI is important because that rounds out the whole thing we're doing, but like tweaking stuff and adding extra bits and stuff, that's kind of the odds and sods I can just do in slow time. I've not read the 29 big int proposal. I have seen it. It's pt4, isn't it? Like, I've seen it. I've not read the paper, but I know it's out. I know it's a thing. So I don't really have much thoughts on it. It's always like, does the standard need it? I think is it a vocabulary type is what it comes down to. Do you know what I mean? Is it something that I want always available and off the shelf? I don't do a lot of like precision number stuff, so it's probably not a feature for me. But and it's one of those things where for the people who do need that, are there already alternatives, right? And are those alternatives already kind of meeting their needs? And is this just a case of standardizing the status quo? Because I'm all for standardizing the status quo. So there's a buzz. Ooh. I thought I put a gate on this so it didn't happen. Okay, fine. Apologies. Who knows? Computers are hard. I think it's so avo cat something 78. How did you know my password? The question is, and this comes up a lot, and I'm happy to answer it, it's like, how do I select what stuff to reverse engineer for YouTube? There's basically, I kind of have like people send me lots of suggestions, which is absolutely great, and I kind of have a log of all of them, and I sort of my first protocol is to kind of go through those, and I sort of triage them as I go along. So, you know, I always make a note of all suggestions people make, even if I don't get around to them, and it's basically the intersection of, do I think it's doable in 4 weeks, about a month? Because it takes me about a month to do. I do about one video a month, so I get about 4 weeks-ish of evenings. Do you know what I mean? Do I think 4 weeks of evenings I can do it? Do I think it is like a useful thing to do? Like, is this I think most of them are, because, you know, they're normally fixing bugs and stuff like that. So I think that's less for consideration. But, like, you know, there's also how good do I think it's going to be as a video? Because at the end of the day, like, whilst I'm in kind of the YouTube game, and I'm certainly min-maxing that as much as I can to build up a bigger audience as possible. So more popular games will maybe have more of a pull, but that's definitely not necessarily always the case. I didn't think that Deponia was that popular a game. Like, it obviously is to a lot of people, but like for me, I'd never even heard of it, but I still did a video on it, and that's sitting at like nearly 200,000 views. So Is it the... Hang on, there might be a... Is there... I'm just wondering if it's the fan on next door. Well, 1 second. No, it's not the fan, so I don't know what is... I think I can hear it as well, but I don't know what it is. I don't have a fan on in here. I don't have any AC. There's obviously no AC in the UK. Strange. We'll have to deal with it, I'm afraid. Oh, did it just go? The dishwasher is on. Curiouser and curiouser. It's true, AC is not in the UK. Anyway, sorry, I trailed off there, but yes, it's kind of a function of many things in terms of personal interest, applicability. Do I think it fits within my sort of, I would actually say not great skill, like, you know, limited skill sets, and I don't know, the feasibility for a video, and basically not necessarily a video, but do I think I can tell a story out of it? Is there a journey to go on that I think is worth, you know, that I think is interesting to tell? Is that better now? We all sit in silence for a few minutes as I bait the engagement by asking questions people are definitely going to answer. Okay, cool. I'm glad you found the grep video interesting. Also, the grep video I think was super fun for me because it was just nice to do something else. Like as much fun as reverse engineering is, it's incredibly stressful, and I definitely would not consider myself very good at it. And it's only a hobby. I'm more of a forward engineer than a reverse engineer by trade, anyway. So it was nice to just do some C++. Thank you for the kind words. Right, let's have a look at what I've been up to. Yeah, I'd like to throw, you know, I think it's good to do different things every now and then anyway, especially because it's quite easy to burn out on YouTube. Okay, right, let's have a quick look at what we're doing. Yeah, and like optimizing is fun, and optimizing is hard, and there's so many like I made so many assumptions that were just wrong when you turned out to measure them. And I think there's a lot of advice which is just not true, like, you know, mmap is always faster and virtual inheritance is terrible, that kind of thing. Okay, so I've set the gun now roughly where I want it, so we can pew, 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 and I started adding some more physics colliders to here, so here and here, but definitely not here. I also tweaked some of the SAO, the ambient occlusion values, so it's not as bad now. This wall here, I don't know if you can see it, it's only when you got quite an acute angle to it, I guess, to the flat plane. But it just seems to be this wall, so I don't know if it's just the normals are messed up. I don't know. But anyway, I think the SAO is much less, like it's more subtle now. And then I built out this room here, so the idea is that you're going to come into this room and then you'll do some stuff, and then there's this door here, and then this will connect to this door, and it'll go to another room, and that will look back up. Corners are interesting. There is still some work to be done on it because this is still a very basic implementation. There are more modern implementations I might replace in the future, but this, I don't know, it's kind of all right now. I think we're quite tall. I feel like I'm going to hit my head every time I go to that door, so we might need to tweak that a little bit. Anyway, if we come back here, so this wall here is like a collider now, which is nice, and this is as well, and these are colliders all around here, so you can go in here. I accidentally left a model here, which I didn't plan on doing, but it's blocked these walls off. These are not supposed to be blocked off. In fact, you can see the Z fighting here where there's something clipping through it. But that being said, what I have now done is in the editor, I've set it all so that when you load the game, the flycam and the player always start at the origin looking down here now, so it doesn't matter what they are in the scene file. It just means we all start in the same place, which is nice. I have added a debug for the camera. So the camera now has a blue box and has a frustum drawn on it, so we can see what's looking at, which is quite nice. So if I'm over here and I'm looking up here, it's really handy to know that I'm looking over here, right? The issue we had with the you remember the camera was kind of moving in like a weird arc? It's because of the parent-child transform. If the camera is not directly on the exactly the same world space as its parent, then when you move it, it will effectively orbit it. So I think I can show that. So if I select, oh no, I'll show that in a second because there's a few bits and pieces I want to show. So that's why this blue box is basically firmly on this yellow box. It's kind of fine. You can also get some interesting effects from that, which if I remember I'll show in a minute. So you can select the gun and move that relative to that. What I think is probably the most interesting thing I added though is that, let me just have a look like here. If you select a camera, okay, there's now a new button here called look through, and that will now set the debug camera to be that camera. So I'm now looking, the debug camera, the fly camera is now looking through this, but with the render UI. So I can select the gun and I can move that relative to exactly where the player is looking. So this allows me to sort of really finely tweak like where I want the placement of the gun and stuff like that. Obviously still got these menus here. But that's kind of that. But also I've added a field of view slider. So if I select the camera again, so if I go player, select camera, we can change the field of view. It changes it for the gun as well, so we need to fix that. But for now, so if I set to like maximum and then I go back to the player, then I get these like really long, like much more on the screen, which I quite like. I quite like the big field of view. Obviously it's more to render because there's more fragments, but so that's quite good. I'm quite pleased with that. Is it out of scope to render the gun on a layer then place it in front of the scene geometry? My friend, the spoilers for today's stream. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. No, gun bobbing is going to come in the future in Recoil because I've been reading about damped harmonic springs, as one does, and I think I want damped springs attached to the gun, which then allows me to have some sort of, which means I can then translate the angular momentum to string stretching. So spring stretching, so that the gun should sway slightly when you move based on the, and then when you fire, it should automatically kick up. Yes, there is like an article with all the maths and all the Greek letters, and we're going to go through that at some point. I really want to get, that is fun. But before fun must come function. So I really need to get shooting working first. Like we need to be able to run around here and shoot shoot boxes, and then they disappear and then they spawn somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like I really need to be able to shoot stuff first, and then we can add sound effects and recoil and muzzle flash, particle effects. I think in order to make the gun feel good and close the sort of gunplay section, then we're going to have to add an awful lot of stuff. So I'm really trying to drive it through necessity. So shoot stuff first, get that working. We need to offload all the scene, all the ray tracing, right? Not like graphics ray tracing, but the ray casting, sorry, where we cast a ray through the scene to find the triangle we hit. That all needs to move over to Jolt because it's much more efficient than the shitty code I wrote. So that's a big thing we got to do. So there's quite a lot to do before we get there. But yeah, it'd be nice if we can have, I want like a Halo sort of Destiny style, like you fire and then the gun rides up kind of thing, and the recoil shoots you up, so which you then have to control. So no, we hit scan bullets, but we do have a grenade launcher and a rocket launcher. So if there's time, we can add projectile-based weapons. I would quite like the enemy to have projectile-based weapons, like sort of the elites in Halo. They had, like, you know, when they had the plasma rifle and the plasma gun, you could actually sidestep to avoid that. I would really like that. For audio, no, my friend, it's going to be the hard mode, and picking up where we left off in the last project, which is X Audio 2, with our own. I'm going to do the maths. I'm going to attempt to do the maths for 3D sound. We've already got the code for setting up the buffers in the previous project. There's code for setting up the X Audio buffers, and there's code for looping sounds and decoding them from files and all that kind of stuff, and getting the waveform gubbins. So all that is kind of done. So we're going to lift and shift that at some point into this project, tidy it up, revisit it, and then create a sound manager, because everything's manager, and then we can just sort of request that sounds get played, and then the sound manager can handle like duplicate sounds and pitch shifting repeated sounds and all that kind of gubbins. The raycast is going to come from the camera. I can't see the point of doing it from the gun. It feels confusing. It sounds interesting. Nice. Okay, so we've got this now. So I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm really pleased with this. There's a few bugs in the editor. When you delete something, it can't always unhook. It doesn't know how to unhook it from the parent. So that's something I need to fix. I'll probably fix off stream. But yeah, we kind of got this little level set out now. It's kind of getting there. And then I think I showed this last time. You can hover over the is that not working? Okay, fine. Maybe I broke that. Oh, I've broken that. Fine. You used to be able to hover over these entities and see them get highlighted. Why is... Ooh, how fun. Does it work in the actual level? Oh, fun. I've broken that. I'll have to... That's upsetting. Something to fix later. Right, anyway. I also started writing the code to add lights to make them anchorable to entities. If we get time, we're going to finish it off today, because there's a few nuances around that I was not prepared for. But first of all, I want to try rendering the main. Let me get this back, because let me show you what I hope to achieve today. Hit scan is easier. What I almost definitely want to do is grenades, which is basically projectiles, right? So I think we can do that. Then it's easier to just extend that to a grenade. I don't know. A rocket is just a grenade that travels in a straight line really fast, right? So at the moment, when we walk up to a wall, the gun clips through, and I don't really want that because it looks absolutely dog shit. There's and also, I don't know if you can see, but there are SAO artifacts around the gun as they interact with the wall, and there's a little bit of haloing as well. I want to get rid of all that. I don't want the gun to participate in SAO. It already has an SAO map baked in, and I really don't think it adds much. So as we could have a look. Oh, actually, that's the point. I can now look through the player, right, to the gun, and then if I turn... So post-processing is currently off, right? I don't think SAO adds much to the gun. It adds a lot to the world geometry, but it doesn't really add much to this. Straight line. I mean, it depends how fast the rocket's going, right? But yeah, sure. So we don't need SAO on that, so we're going to try and sack all that off. So there's basically there's the classic way of doing it, which we're going to do, which is where you render the gun effectively on top of everything else. And there's a little bit of nuance around that, around the depth buffer and stuff like that, which we're going to try and I'm going to attempt to do. And the other way is you attach a physics object to the gun and have it physically like move back when you hit a wall and then spring back. That sounds like an absolute nightmare with very little gain. I'd rather just slap the gun on top. So we're going to go to the renderer, which no, we're not going to make a mess of that. Right, let's go to the renderer. So I've done a lot. Have I got anything committed? Okay, I've got these entity changes that I started working on, so don't worry about that. Okay. Well, I want to try this. Okay, so this is what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to somehow, when we fill out the G buffer, we loop through every entity in the game, right? So every entity in the scene and render it. Now that needs optimizing in the future anyway, because static entities should just be filled, the command buffer should be filled once, and we shouldn't have to change it unless it's dirty, and then the dynamic one should just be rebuilt. At the moment, we just build a command buffer every frame. What we need to do is not add the gun to that command buffer. So layer tags on entities is a way of doing it. What I was going to do is just have a special entity in scene which is called gun. And then when you want to add the gun to the scene, you just don't put it in the main scene buffer. You put it in that one instead. I actually think that for what we want to do, for like the philosophy I have, which is just write the code that we need to get what we're doing, I think that's fine. Layering and all those extra bits sounds great for an engine, but I don't think it really gets me what I want now. So, and then we could always have a vector of things that we want to render on top if we want to expand it. But I think like when it deserializes it, like literally we'll have code like if entity is called gun, stick it in the gun hole. So I think so that's one thing to do. But where do we build the G? Where do we build the G buffer? So here we go. So we do the G buffer pass and the lighting pass. What I think we want to do is the G buffer pass will do everything but the gun, and then we'll have another one which is execute gun G buffer pass, which will just add onto the existing G buffers the data we've got. And then what I think we want to do is we're going to have this twice, but I think the SAO pass, right, I think just uses it uses the G buffer, right? So I think we can get, I think if we're clever, we can render, fill out the G buffer for all the scene, then calculate the SAO, and then add back to the G buffers after that the gun, right? And then do the lighting pass. That's my plan. So I think the rendering is slightly more complicated. So I think the first thing to do is just experiment with, can we kind of selectively like remove the gun? We'll just do the whole SAO pass now, and we'll add that later. So my plan, such that it is you can change the range of the depth buffer that you write to. So I think when we render the whole scene, right, the first thing we're going to want to do is GL depth range, right? So if we set this to 0.1f, 1.0f, if we say for all future render calls that you can only write to the depth values that are from 0.1 to 1, which is basically all of them, we're going to compress 0 to 1 to the range of 0 to 1 to the range of 0.1 to 1. That gives us, right at the beginning, 0 to 0.1, which should never be touched. And then if we then render the gun into that, it will always be on top. Yeah, 1 is the maximum, right? Because it's that's just as far as I know, it's just the way it works. That's just how it fills the depth buffer. Maybe I'll have more, I don't know, but like conceptually, like the ranges are 0 to 1. So this would now, so basically in theory this should look the same, right? Whether this messes around with the debug UI, don't know, TBC. But let's like do this in stages. So this should be exactly the same, but we should have a little bit of spare depth. Depth is a Z buffer, yes. Right, this looks pretty cromulent to me. Is it darker, or am I just going mad? I think it's fine. It feels darker, but I could just be... No, I'm just mad. Okay, fine. So this all still works. I don't actually render out the depth buffer. I should probably add that back in. These normals seem like absolutely messed up as well. Look at, like, I don't. Can you see the bottom left? You've got the red SAO pass, and then you've got the diffuse pass, and then the next one, the one to the next to that, to the right of that, is the normal pass. These normals seem absolutely messed up. Now that I look at them, like, what is going on here? Like, did I do that? These normals are... A lot of these normals are absolutely... Why are these normals garbage? These will seem like... These will seem perfectly cromulent. Anyway, that's the problem for another day. Okay, fine. So we can compress the range down to that. So the next thing to do is to go and absolutely ruin scene by... So somewhere in here... Oh, I moved all of the entity implementation over to the CP file, and I'm tempted to do the same for scene. But for now, we'll just leave it. I do like, I find there is humor in mispronouncing things, especially with a straight face. So I lean into that an awful lot in the videos I do and on live stream. But then the problem is, then I think people think I'm always doing that when there's things I generally pronounce like the image format ping. that's just how I say it. But yeah, there's humor to be found in mispronouncing things. Right, so let's do entity and no, that's the description. Sorry, we could add it to the description, but for now I think we'll just do entity handle gun. Right, fun gun. Right, this is nice because entity defaults effectively to an invalid handle, so we can it is in and of itself an optional type. So that's fine. So then we're going to need a way of exposing that. So under here, let's do const expr auto gun entity, I think, just rather than just gun. I can yeah, whatever. You need it once. Entity handle. Okay, so that will expose that. Entities. Entity entities. Why can I not find the there it is. Apologies. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. Okay, that's bish bash bosh, done. C++26 is pretty great. Big fan. A lot of the latest video has brought out a lot of C++ hate from the woodworks, which I do find quite funny. I appreciate your kind words. I wish I could be more consistent. Like, life happens sometimes, and I can't always do it. But I do my best to be consistent. I do hate to miss a stream because the streams force me to show up and make progress. Otherwise, I would have gone with it. I would have been bored with this project a long time ago. Let me tell you. Right, where are we doing? Where do we deserialize all the gubbins? It's here, isn't it? Okay, so it's the add here. Basically, what we want to do is do if new entity name equals gun. Love to hard code that. What are those brackets? Do gun equals new entity handle. Right, so this will, I think this does extra gubbins. Oh no, just push that back. Okay, fine. So this is fine. So when we're deserializing it, if we've got a gun, then we stick it in the gun hole. Otherwise, it just goes into the regular entities. Which means now, in theory, having just done that, that gun should technically no longer render. That's a function. That be a function. Apparently there's a new gifting thing. I've just had a message from AC. I did not see any of this. None of this comes through to me. Oh, hang on. Maybe it did. It's just, it's not filtered through to my chat thing yet. Sent gold coin for 10 joules. Sent star for 2 joules. Sent press F for 10 joules. AC is throwing joules. I don't know what a joule is, but he is throwing them left, right, and center. AC, I will also make a post letting know people I do this. I won't have time now, but yes, good point. Technically, it did not render indeed. You are correct, and I'm happy. I'm only using the normal Dracula theme. I probably should throw them some money because it is something I use literally everywhere, and it's even the color. Should I admit this? It's the color scheme I use for a lot of my videos and stuff. I mean, I guess they're just hex values. So I'm pretty consistently using the Dracula theme for everything. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. YouTube's equivalent to bits on Twitch. Do we get anything for this? Oh, someone here with 50 viewers from... You are... Welcome, Raiders. You've joined at an absolutely brilliant time because I've decided to not render the gun. And that is exactly what I wanted to do. So this is peak game dev here. I was like, I don't want the gun anymore, and it is gone. But... Oh, you won't even... Oh, here's an interesting thing. What the hell am I going to do on the debug view? Oh, is it going to render it with no depth on the debug view? Oh, that's gonna royally mess it up. Oh, I'm excited for that. Oh, Christ. Hadn't even thought of that. Well, that is my problem in about... I would like to say 10 minutes. Realistically, it's probably going to take about 40 minutes to get this working. Okay, sorry. So now that I've stuck the gun in the gun hole and I can do that, what we need now is back to the renderer. And I think we're going to do... Let's have another helper function, because why not have one more? So execute gun gbuffer pass, right? And then this can literally be... I'm just going to copy and paste this. Right. Why is this a short? I dual stream on both formats, so I guess it really depends how you find me. Player movement working right. Right is a strong word. Like, it does not move how I want it to move, but it sure does move. So, you know, okay, right. So I want to rebind the render target. However, I do not want to clear it. I want to render into it over the top of everything else, right? So this is now going to have a depth range of 0.0f to 1. Okay. We're going to use the same program. Going to use the same buffer SSBOs, right? Everything is the same. The only difference is here we only need to... Can I get away with just writing... I think I just need to write into the... Where's the command data? The command here. So this builds scene. So I can reuse the command buffer, right? Because I've already submitted it. Too many Fs. You're right. So good. I suffix it twice. Thanks. And also... Should that not be renderer? Renderer. Okay, can I... It's around here, he'll know. Can I reuse this command buffer? Will I get tearing? Because this is a persistently... I don't think I can reuse this because isn't command buffer a persistently mapped buffer with a coherent bit and all those other good words, which means I have to triple buffer it. I'm already having to triple buffer it to avoid tearing, which does somewhat imply I shouldn't just sort of pull the rug out from underneath its feet. I could just create a new command buffer. Yeah, I don't. It is synchronous API. Why did I have to triple buffer it? I'm sure there was a. Hang on, what is command buffer when it's at home? So command. I don't know. Command buffer is just a. Is a multi-buffer. It is a multi-buffered persistent buffer, which does imply I need to do, like all these, I do need to do, and the object data buffer as well. Ugh, grim. To keep it in sync with the other buffers. Yeah, but why would the other buffers? Why would they be out of sync? Like, why am I bothering? Because somewhere in here I have this. I have to advance the buffers. So why did I have to do that? I'm just trying. It's been so long since I've done this. It was something to do with them being persistently mapped. I suppose just don't rock the boat. Git history, no, it would be like the git commit would be like added persistent buffer class with literally no justification as to why I needed it. And there's no comments because I'm terrible at what I do. There was definitely a reason why I did this. I think it's just because I fill out that data. I think it's just because I could be technically writing to it again before the before it's been flipped. The streams are documentation, right? Okay, let's just. I think the easiest thing to do is just more code, right? To be honest, that gun command buffer could probably be set on construction. Can it? No, because the gun might change. So we'll need to set that every time, right? Because that will tell you, that just tells you, the command buffer tells you what vertices and indices to render from the indirect render call. And I think I can just reuse I'm sure I can just reuse the object data buffer that's already bound because, oh no, I can't. So the object data buffer is all the per model information. So that's it's world space. I think maybe it's the emissive content. What actually goes into that? So I'll need one of those for the. I wonder if no, because I want it to fit in with the existing gbuffer fragment shaders. I don't really want to write a specific one, like a special case one just for this. So this, yeah, look, here you go. You bind all this. So we need all this gubbins here. I think we're going to need part of me feels like I should just be able to tack the gun onto that when I build the first one and then just reference it. But will I have the right index? Because you use the GL draw ID, or not instance ID, I think it's the draw ID to index into that because it knows which indirect instance it's rendering, and you use that as an index into that. I don't think there's any way. Fuck, I'm just gonna have to do it twice. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm not particularly happy about it, but like I'm sure I'll live. Let's just get it working, okay? So where do we set all this gubbins? So we've got post-processing command buffer. So this is going to be gun command buffer, and we'll give that a name. The fun command. It's the fun command. Buffer. And then somewhere down here we've got the multi-buffer gun object data buffer, and that comes before the object data buffer. So this can be... This shouldn't need resizing, right? Because this is just going to have one object in there. That's fine. And this can be... Is that right? I want to do this because I want to render the gun separately with a different depth value after I've rendered the main G buffer, right? So I need to be able to construct a separate command buffer just for rendering that. The index buffer is all kind of taken care of within the command buffer. So let's do... So after... Let's just see if we can get back to where we were, but with them done separately. So come back to the first scene. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, but this is how I'm trying to wire it in. And then I might as well do gun command buffer dot advance. Isn't it a post-processing command buffer? That should probably be advanced as well. And gun object data buffer dot advance. Okay, so now when we go down to this, we set that, we don't clear the existing buffers, we bind the G-buffer program, we get the vertex buffer, the handle to the vertex buffer and the index buffer, we bind those to the SSBOs, we set the camera buffer, so we could use a different camera here, which doesn't have the FOV change, but we can do that later. There is no goal to make this a generic engine at the moment. I'm just trying to make it a game as is. So then we bind the index buffer, right, command count, so we want gun command buffer build scene dot gun, right? So I believe, does this handle just single entities? It does, but only once you've resolved it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do if do I get the services out anywhere? Right, bring this up to the top, right. And right, we're going to do const auto gun equals em scene dot gun, right? So this will resolve this. If not gun, return. Right, if there's no gun, just don't bother, just don't render anything. Which means now we know we have the gun model, right? So now we can just straight up do gun here, right? Because as much as I lament having done it, we can build a command buffer on a whole scene or just a single entity, because we need to build it on a single entity, because that's how we build a command buffer for a single sprite, which is how we do full screen effects. Okay, right, build that. I've got to be careful here because there's going to be definitely some misery. Oh, thank you very much. Someone just sent 5 YouTube channel memberships. How very kind of you, Maverick. What a lovely gesture. Thank you so much. Okay, right. So that binds that, and then object data here will just become the... It's basically this, but just for the entity. Do we need to support sub entities? We probably do. So I think think all this goes away because we've already effectively resolved this. And then this just becomes... Get rid of that, and then make that the gun. Gun, render entities, view transform. Hang on. Ooh, there's a lot going on here. Pipe that to stud ranges to stud vector. Alright, and then entity becomes gun. Okay, so that just, rather than looping through every single entity and doing that transform, right, and then building up that array of object data, which, by the way, for static stuff, this is where the optimization is going to come in, because we shouldn't be doing this every frame if nothing's changed. So we use ranges to wang that into a vector. I'm going to call resize GPU buffer there because it might have grown since it should never. I guess if we're rendering a new gun which has more parts, then it might have grown. So we should just check if we need to resize the GPU buffer. Then that's going to be gun, and then wherever we have object data, we're going to put in gun before that. That writes that to there. Shove that in there, and then we do the big GL call, GL multi-draw elements and direct, obviously, bit of a mouthful, but it does the things that we want. Wrong command buffer. Thank you. That's my job. I consider it my raison d'etre, is to make C++ look cool. Because it doesn't always look cool. Okay, right. Fuck it, let's just see what happens. In theory, we should just see the gun back again. Oh no, in theory this should render it, because I changed the depth value, this should render everything on top. Buffer range call, wrong buffer. Let's just, I'm curious to see what happens, because the mistakes are sometimes funny in and of themselves. I think you can learn a lot of low-level graphics programming through OpenGL or DirectX. Whoa, oh my goodness, headache. No, nope. Where was I? Yeah, apologies for that. Right, what am I doing wrong? Oh, is it all this? Have I missed anything else? Right. Hold on to your butts. Yes, that is me. Hello, hello. Well, that is... It's not great. I'm concerned that it is... I think I know what it is, but if it's the issue I think it is, then it means I fundamentally do not understand how my own renderer works, which is a little bit worrying. Let me just comment out the gun buffer, right? Let's try and narrow down the issue. As I said, I think honest videos is what I'm trying to do. Like, no, try not to be try not to be disingenuous. It's just the projects that I do that I find fun, and then I tell people about them. I think there's literally no problem with using AI. Do you know what I mean? I think it has the impact comes on. We don't really know what the long-term effects are in terms of maintainability and and education and stuff like that. But I use AI. I don't use AI on this project, but I sometimes use AI to ask questions around like concepts and stuff like that. So right. I think the issue, which I really is is because I'm advancing this new buffer, which is a little bit terrifying because it means I don't understand why advancing that doesn't work and why advancing the other ones does work. Yeah. Thank you for the bits, by the way. I do try. I'm a terrible streamer. I do try and keep up with all. Right, yeah. So, worryingly, I do not understand why that. I'm gonna have to think real hard about that. I need to do some soul searching and find out what all the, and try and remind myself why I did all the buffer advancing. There's different render passes for the post-processing stuff, but it's all kind of hard-coded in the render itself. Like the renderer will always do this, then this, then this, then this, then this. PHP was my first language. It's a great language, right? Oh, look at that. Yeah, rendering on top of those walls. Obviously, we've got the SAO artifact, so I think that's what's making it dark. But look at that. We're doing it. We're doing it, guys. We're doing it. What does T-Bow look like? Oh my goodness, what a great question. It's actually okay. So, whoa, why are all these lines? Whoa. Why the gun is rendered on top of everything? Oh, hang on. I think at the end of this, we should probably do GL depth range 0.1f. Reset that back, because any other rendering that happens after that is going to assume that was the case. Yeah, we're going to set up the lighting in a minute, but I'm curious to figure this out first. Great, yeah, I'm glad. The whole point of the videos is to inspire people to learn about how computers work at a low level. Do you know what I mean? So if someone watches the video and thinks I could do some programming, like what a great outcome that is. The control scheme is what it is. And it's not liable to change, right? Okay, so the gun always goes on top. I really don't know if I care enough to change it for now. It's not great. I honestly don't know how to change it. I think the only way to do it... actually, wait a minute. No, I think I do know how to change that. I think I'm talking absolute shite. If... Does the renderer know if it's in debug mode? It doesn't. I could do it for post-processing. So if enable post-processing, which is a little bit of a hack because you only disable that in debug mode. From scratch, the renderer is custom. All the windowing code is custom. All the input handling code is custom. The coroutine based job scheduler is custom. What else is custom in there? I think that's probably the big ones. The things that are not custom are Jolt. It's a AAA physics engine because I'm absolutely not writing my own physics engine, but my kind of wrapper and abstraction around it is custom. The debug UI ImGUI, that's a very popular third-party library. Anything for parsing file formats, I'm just not writing my own because I just feel there's very little educational value in that, and it's just a lot of time and bugs. So STB for image file formats, async for the 3D models. I do a bunch of post-processing before that anyway. I think that's kind of the bulk of it. Oh, all the maths classes are custom as well, obviously. So I wrote my own maths primitives. If Qt works for you, then you use it. I have no experience in it, and it was not. So I think there's a really interesting point here. It's like, why not use Qt? There are some libraries that I've never used before, and I want to figure out how to use live, because I think showing people how I approach a library I've never used before, I think there's good value content in that. So Jolt, I know we did that in the previous project, but like, I've never used Jolt before. I just switch the camera on, I'll figure it out live, right? Qt is not something that I personally have any interest in learning, just because I don't have any need for it outside of any other projects. And ImGUI is just so easy to use, so I don't think there's any value in me adding that just to kind of learn it. Hopefully that kind of answers your question. Like, there's nothing against it. Yes, look at that. I'm a bloody genius. Except, obviously, if I do enable post-processing, there is. There's the gun. I think that's about as good as it's going to get, to be honest. I think I can live with that. I'm really pleased with that. That was really, really cool. Except I can no longer move the gun in debug mode. Oh no! Why would you say that? Like, what? Why would you piss my cornflakes like that? How outrageous! Why can I see it? Oh, it still renders it. No, it still renders it. It just doesn't disable the depth test, right? It means that if the gun was somehow stretched really far away from me, I would still see it through the walls. At no point does it not render the gun. It just changes the depth. What I do want to do is actually see if I can show you what happens with the camera, because I think it's quite funny. So if you, where am I? If you select the camera, right, and then you move it away from the origin, then when I rotate it, it will apply the rotation, or it will apply the rotation with this at the origin. So when I move it around, I actually I spin round. So I'm just strafing left and right, but I'm actually rotating around. So you could do something cool with that. Sorry, no. When I just move the mouse left and right, I'm actually moving around. It's hard to tell. I need a much bigger delta. Let's try that. So as I move the mouse left and right, I actually move around the origin rather than I move around that origin, right? So you could actually, we've almost got something here which could be like a cutscene or something, right? With just what we've got, because you would just have an anchor for the camera and just offset it. But this is really cool. I really like this. This is very Unreal Tournament. Yeah, exactly. So do you remember in the previous project, the loading screen was just a camera orbiting around a barrel, right? We could do that for free now, because you would put a node in the barrel and then add a camera to it and then just offset it, right? And then you would just rotate the camera slowly around its origin, but because of the way the parent-child transforms get multiplied down, it would actually rotate around that point. So anyway, fun. Don't save that. This is why I don't have autosave on. Okay, so now the only thing to do is fix the SSAO. So I think for this, we just need to do... I'm really hoping this works. I think we want to do... I think we just want to... Because I'm pretty sure the SSAO pass is independent of everything other than the normal buffer, right? And the world position buffer. I think that's the only two it needs. You should do the view model in its own render pass. You should do the view model in its own render pass. I'm not sure I understand. I think this is fine though. This is what I want. Like, I just want the SSAO based on everything other than the gun, which is already pre-filled into the G buffer. Oh, something is wrong there already. Can you see that, the ghosting on it? I guess it's applying the SSAO indiscriminately across everything else. If I... Yeah, can you see that? It gets added over the top of it. The view model is the gun you did with the G-buffer to make it easier to do the gun its own pass. It is in its own pass though. I'm not a graphics expert, by the way. Like, I'm figuring out all the terminology and everything as I go along. Like, it has that function. Is that not a separate pass, right? It issues a completely separate GL multi-draw indirect call. I think the issue... no, I tell you what the issue is... I think it's the... I think I made... This was a hack I did before. Don't I... In the lighting pass... don't I apply the SAO here? No, where do I apply it? Is it in the... no, it's in the... Oh, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I think it's in the tone mapping pass. I went through, I'd say, a reasonably classic kind of route. I went to university, I did a master's degree in computer science, and then I got a job as a C++ dev, and I've been doing that for like over a decade now. Okay, so the issue here in the tone map is SAO. I blur it. It's already been blurred. And then it gets built. It gets added at the tone map phase, which applies everything. Ooh. Okay, I have to think about this. I think the issue is basically we've filled out the G buffer, we've independently added the world geometry and then the gun on top. But the gun, why was this not an issue before? Is it because the gun has such a small depth now? Can I... yes, it is near Vim. Oh, because the gun would have included that SAO before. Yes, so what we saw there was the shadowing from the level geometry, but obviously before the gun was rendered in front of that, which blocked it out. Tricky. So what I think we actually need to do is, okay, let's move this back. Right. I think the SSAO pass needs to... It needs a mask. It needs to know when it's, because let's say it will work per fragment across the scene, right? And it will calculate the occlusion level based on the hemisphere, the normal aligned hemisphere projection gubbins, blah blah blah. No one gives a shit. But when it is trying to do that on a fragment where the gun is. If it knows the gun is there, then it should just not calculate anything. It should just emit white, I guess. Oh, right. I'm going to do something grim here. Rendering the gun last would save you this hassle. With a how would it? I don't understand how it would be any different to what I'm doing now. I am rendering the gun last. Unless, do you mean like literally composite it after the final post-processing scene? But then how do I accumulate the lights for it? So you're saying run. So there's two things, right? We can either mask it out, or the other suggestion is that we do. The problem is I have loads of post-processing effects. So okay, I'm happy to kind of explore your idea. I'm not sure if it's going to work for me. So I want all these post-processing effects, right? Like I want bloom. I don't care about the luminance, right? So that's fine because the gun shouldn't influence that anyway. And I don't want SA, but I do want bloom because the gun has a bloom component on it. And then I'll obviously need tone mapping and the chromatic aberration pass. Because what I was thinking, yeah, I'm just trying to work out. I'm struggling to conceptually see the flow of rendering where I just render the gun last, right? I fill the G buffer, right, and I do the light paths. Okay. Then I would need to do luminance, average luminance, SAO. And then you're saying render the gun on top. But I would have already done the light pass at that point into the light buffer target. So I would have to redo, I'd have to do a second light pass. I'm going to try and budget to start with. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that might be more work than I'm willing to do now. Because what... Because... like a normal is just 3 components, right? Could I not stuff like a 0 or 1 into that? Because the 2 buffers that go into SAO, right, bear with me, are depth, which I can't change because I already have changed and this is the whole source of the issues, and the normal buffer. So if I had layout location equals 11, nope, hang on, I want, do I not have any uniforms on this? How do I set a uniform? Let's set uniform floats. Layout location equals naught uniform float mask. Okay. Bear with me. Bear with me. This might be absolutely grim. I've got no uniforms in the vertex shader, have I? No, okay. And then okay, so I can now, when I call this pass, I can basically specify a number that goes in the final component of the normal. Okay, so when we do so why do I set uniform? Since so long since I've done any of this, I do it that way. So so before I do this, if I do g buffer program dot set uniform 0 zu 1.0f, right? And then in here I do .0f, right? And then in the SSAO fragment shader, where I read in the normal can I do something like, can I do early returns? Can I do if normal equals 0f return? Is that a thing? Let's see what happens. But yeah, that's my kind of plans. I can then actually say which, because it might be useful for other things to be able to say don't do this. That could even be, it could even be part of the entity. The entity itself could contain whether it, like a boolean, which basically says whether it is contributes to SAO or not. It's not quite what I wanted. The thing is that I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I don't know if you can. It's in, yeah, because but it's got a. Wait a minute, but I also need to. I don't think this is going to work for me, is it? Because have I got the maths wrong here? Because it's not. It's no, it's not. It's if it's 0 early return, right? So that's 0 in the gun pass, and that's 1 in the regular pass. But I think the who knows what's in my who knows what's in my SAO path. It's just cobbled together from like an article I found, I think from Learn OpenGL. I think the issue is it's not whether I just want to stop. The check is here, right? So this should be GL. This should be this. I think it should be 0.0f actually. But also, it's not just whether I'm... Is that just enough to fix it? I know, don't. I'm so inconsistent. It's just in the shaders I'm inconsistent. I don't know why. I don't know why it's kind of now translucent. Because if you look... Oh no, it is messed up. It is coming through there. Why is that? I think the issue is it's... I'll try in a second. But I think the issue is it's not the fact that I'm early exiting from the samples, right? I think the issue is that it's the things... If the gun gets close to the wall, right, the fragments on the wall will be occluded by the gun. So I need to make sure that those projections are infinite, right? But I don't know if that's even... Oh, is that even possible? Where do I sample normal, right? Where do I use normal? It's here, isn't it? Oh, but do I only ever use... Oh, I do only ever use the normal... I know, I just really don't want to rewire it to do it, but I was really hoping this would work. I guess it's not the end of the world. Okay, fine, let's undo this. Let's see if we can do it as a separate pass. Renderer, let's get rid of this. Okay, so seven yank 7. Execute gun lighting pass. Okay, so hello. I don't want to clear I want to accumulate into it the next one, right? Which means I'm going to have to set the depth pass again to be this, because I only want to do the new stuff, question mark. All right, okay. So let's have a look at what this does. So bind that, write all the lights out again. We could probably... We probably don't need to rebind any of this, actually, because it should already be written from the previous one, so there's no need to do that. The uniforms are probably all... Where do you do the lighting for the world? Here. Those uniforms... So this now just needs to be Gungy buffer RT, right? Shit, hang on. No, I see what you're saying now. Is you want to I want to render the... Hang on. Whoa. No, hang on. I just want to I want to just accumulate into that buffer, right? I think it's going to be horrific. Is it just that? Do I literally just call the lighting pass again but with different depth buffer? Is that... Alright, let's try this. So let's try doing the lighting pass there, and then... So this should just give us basically what we had at the start. Interesting. Cursor and cursor. I do suspect this won't work. No, that crashed. Okay, fine. Let me run it not in the UI just to see why it crashed. Because I guess the other thing you do is you just render them into two totally separate render buffers and just composite them using another additional frame buffer. Incomplete. Failed to compile shader fragments. So, oh, what have I? What have I done here? Alright, sorry, that was my bad. But I do feel like I should be able to accumulate everything into that existing light pass buffer. Oh, ooh, okay. Okay, so that is still doing everything. So what we should be able to do now is yeah, sometimes you just need to know we're all still there. Okay, fine, right. Oh, did it not switch? Sorry. Let me show you what I'm seeing. Because I'm terrible at what I do. Okay, so we've got the gun. It's basically back to where we were, where it has the SAO artifacts applied to it, but it is now done as a separate pass. So now we should be able to do you can now do SO separately in the gun pass as well. Yeah, I don't think I want to, but like, let's keep it simple for now. Right, okay, so Bloom should be done at the end, as should tone mapping. Yeah, hang on. This should all apply, so then these two go, and then here we do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Is that right? I feel like... Oh, am I going to have to do all the post-processing just on these? Is that the issue? Is that what I was trying to avoid? Because this is going to have the same issue, right? It's just going to calculate the SAO above it and apply it on top of it. How do you do that with like Bloom, where am I? Oh, I'm going to need a separate render target, aren't I? And then composite them, and then I'm going to get the blend mode right. Oh, I hate all this. Yeah, same issue. I still feel like I can use that mask, because the only issue now, right? So yeah, there's no SAO applied on the gun to the wall, so that's solved. So the only issue now is that bleed through. So I feel like if I have the mask in the normal map, then can I just not accumulate it in the tone map shader? Right, let's go back to the G buffer frag, right? So let's continue to stuff the mask in there, right? Maybe the answer was the combination of both of our suggestions. And then do we do this, do G buffer program dot set uniform 1ZU 0.0F, and then it is, yes, well done. Which means I've copy and pasted that wrong up here as well. Okay, and then if I go into the tone map, right, and then we sample all this gubbins here, I don't think I passed the depth map into here, but that's easily solved. Sorry, I don't think I passed the normal map in, but that is easily solved by having a separate Z buffer for the draw gun. Cool. That would involve having a separate render target, wouldn't it? Which is what I'm effectively trying to avoid. You could possibly bind a separate depth one. Don't know. It's a good idea, but I do not know. How do I get this bloody normal map out? I don't actually. I just need to sample it, right? I don't need to do any transformation with it. I literally just need float SAO scale, right? And then this is going to be vec4.w. Yeah, I think there's a lot I forgot to do here. I think I just want this actually. All right, and then do occlusion times SAO scale. So I read from the normal texture, the W component, which is what we've written into previously. If it's 0, then we multiply in no occlusion. Regardless of whatever the occlusion value is, we ignore it, and then 1 is we scale. Is that right, or do I need to invert that? The occlusion amount scales it. So if it's 0, it will be darker. So I want to do 1 minus 0 f minus that, right? No, that's wrong. Basically, I want occlusion to be 1 if it's hang on. Yeah, I guess you're right. We could just suck it and see. Okay, so renderer, where we do tone map, where I set all these absolute monster uniforms, I want to now do right at the end. Gbuffer rt dot. Oh my goodness! I think it's normal. The first one, so we can check from SAO. SAO is 1 and 2 as normal and position. So it's 1. One. I just quit out. I just straight quit out of him there. Absolutely had enough. Right. Fuck yeah, let's just see what happens. Well, it's because the frame buffer only has 4 targets, and I could call them like diffuse, normal, position, whatever. But then I thought that is a little bit restrictive in case. All right, that's the wrong thing. Back to where we. What do I want? What I want. So I have. It all boils down to a single occlusion value between 0 and 1, right? If it is 0, then it is dark, and it multiplies it. 915 should be 2. No, I thought it was 1. I thought that's what we figured out. Because if you go up to the SAO program sets the 2 textures it sets in order are 1 and 2, and then in SAO it picks them up as normal and texture. So slot 0 is whatever the normal texture is, and slot 0 is texture handle 1. Oh, sorry, did I change the wrong one? Got you. Thank you. Sorry, I see what you mean. All right. Silent vindication. I still don't think it's going to work. God, Christ, it's hot. Okay, right. Okay, fine. Tone mapping. Right, so I think what I want, right, what I've got is an occlusion value. I have a float, right? That becomes 0 to 1. 0 means it is entirely occluded, and 1 means it's 0 occluded. What I want to say is that for something which has 1, the occlusion should always be 1. So does that mean I just want max of occlusion and scale? Wait a minute. It's yeah, okay, and then the renderer we then put in so this should always be one then, shouldn't it? Always set that to the maximum number. It doesn't matter what it is, because the max of anything with 1 will be 1, and then this will be 0. There we go. Now we're cooking. Gun always on top, no SAO. What an absolute ball ache that was. Thank you for everyone's help on that. I appreciate it. I might have ignored some people's suggestions. I do try to take them all into account. But I'm pretty pleased with that. Right, what does it look like from the miserable debug UI? So that looks pretty good. And then if we enable post-processing, yeah, okay, fine. We have some counts. We have some counts if you got. I think the light on the wall is because the I think you don't see any light on that wall because the normals are fucked. If I bring the light over, it's definitely not. Great, is it? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hang on. Oh, no. Ooh. Is that all knackered now? Oh, no. Something's gone wrong here. That is what a great spot. All this level should be lit with red light. No, all this should be... Look at the whole level. There's no red light here at all. All the light's gone. Except for on the gun. So we've... let me just... I suspect it's where we've now... So the normal... The normal layer is now effectively transparent apart from where the gun is, but it shouldn't be using the transparent part. So I suspect the issue is if I change this to 1, right? Which means don't include the level. That will give me a normal value of the W component will be 1, right? Or if this works and there's some miserable bug in the shader somewhere where it's taken into account that W component in places I'm not expecting it. That was a great spot, by the way. Ah, shit. Right, okay. So there's now no SAO because it's all masked out. Okay, fine. We'll have to go through these. So let's do... I don't know where it's failing. So let's undo that. Annoyingly, it now won't render the debug. I'll lose all the normals from the debug UI, which I really need, because that's how I've already known some of them are wrong. So let's do... It's more important I have the normals on the world, so let's invert these back. Right, and go to the tone map and do... So this should get us the same thing, but at least means the norm... So we should now have no lighting on the gun, but just lighting on the world now. Which is still a bug, but I mean, it will look less... Or min instead of max. No, because I want... Ooh dear. I've ended up... It's applying everything... It's now not including it. Oh, does that mean... Do you think I need min there? That would get me absolutely nothing. Yes, okay. It's because I don't really know what I'm doing. I flipped it, but then didn't I invert it with the 1 minus? This is not looking great. I'm not gonna lie. This is... Let's try it again. Oh good, it's just everything is just empty. Great, love it. Well, I've absolutely balls that one up. Just got nothing but a blank space. Chose wrong for every major technical decision. I'm more than happy for you to enumerate on the technical decision mistakes that you think I've made. I think max is right, because shouldn't that... I've inverted it, so for... When I give it a 0, which now means I want the SAO, 1 minus 0 is 1. The max between the occlusion and that will... Oh, no, you are right, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not going to feed trolls, so I'm really not going to engage you any more than this. But, like, those are... You've provided no substantial evidence as to why you think those are incorrect decisions, right? You are correct. Those are the decisions I have made, and I cannot fault you on that. You are very observant, and you have indeed identified 2 of the technical decisions I've made, but you have provided 0 evidence as to why you personally think those are incorrect. So I applaud your observation skills. Right. I want to use 1. I want to use 1 to... Sorry, it's getting very hot in here and I'm struggling to... I need 1 to represent when I want to... Yes, sorry. 1 represents when I want the occlusion to happen, right? Yes, thank you, Quecko. I think we can probably remove that. 1 means I want it to be occluded, right? So 1 minus 0 is... Sorry, 1 minus 1 is 0, and the max will be that. So I don't understand why the whole screen is black. The only thing I can think of... Oh, here's a fun one for you. Oh man, people have nothing better to do. Oh, I see. I was wondering, do I normalize it? But I don't. I literally just shove it in there. So this might require some more thought. It's pretty close to working. I can't believe I was so ready to declare victory, and then someone very correctly pointed out that all the lighting is balked. We could go back to it working, but without the lighting, and then figure out why the lighting's not working. Like, I'd rather be able to visualize the normals. But I don't think anything writes back to the normal, right? So this has an output target, right? So this writes to a texture. I don't think anything else writes back to that normal. Nah, I think the issue... I think I know the issue. I think the issue is what... hang on. as MBC? Was that who was suggesting this the whole time? I think the issue fundamentally is that I filled out the G buffer, right? I am then writing back into the G buffer, but I'm not just writing I have to write every single fragment, right? So because I'm rendering a scene of just... Oh no, because the depth. What my concern was when I render the gun over the top, right? I'm still rendering. I'm still executing the fragment shader on all the background, all the other pixels, and I'm wondering if that, because it writes out to us resetting it, but because of the depth, those should... Oh, it does go over the top of all of them, those, because it's a shorter depth. I think I might be accidentally resetting it when I render over it. But no, because I can see that... sorry, I'm going around a little bit around in circles here. No, render.doc doesn't work for me, unfortunately, because bindless textures aren't supported in OpenGL. Maybe that guy was right, and I should just rewrite it in Vulkan. So those normals all look, apart from the fucked up normals, like the normals by and large look normally. So let's go back to what we had before, right? At least I can... No, because I can't debug the render. Okay. That must be... So sorry, I think I've disproven my first conjecture. The second gun render pass, right, does not affect the existing normal texture because we can see the level perfectly without it. So we know that the first render path, the first G buffer fill has correctly set the normals, and then when we render the gun on top of that, it's just effectively applying it as a transparency, okay? Which is why we don't see it at all in the normal buffer, okay? Even though the data is there, it's not affected anything else. Because if we set this to 0.5, right? No, I need to bash my head against this for a little bit longer, then I will concede and do quiet time. Okay, you might not be able to see it, but I can see the normals of the gun rendered with transparency in the normal map. So it is correctly filling both buffers, okay? That is fine. So I'm cool with that. So the question is, why is the occlusion not going over the... Why is it not correctly handling the occlusion in the tone map one? So the issue is, right, I want to render the gun separately and have it not contribute to SSAO, okay? As in, I don't want the world, I don't want when the gun gets, when I get close to a wall, I want the gun to always be on top, but I don't want it to give dark shadows beneath it. I just want it to just be rendered on top. We rendered out the first G buffer with all the world geometry, okay? And then we did a lighting pass on that, okay? We then did a, we then filled the, just talking it through my head now. We then did a separate render pass with the gun, reusing that same G buffer, although I didn't clear it, which I think is fine. And then render the second light pass, okay. So we ended up with the G buffer. We ended up with a light buffer filled with the whole scene, okay, but with the gun always on top because we changed the depth range. The issue now is the screen space ambient occlusion. When I mix it back in, so the SAO can now be applied between those two render passes, right? So the SAO is only calculated before we render the gun in, which is what we want. The issue is now when I go to apply it to the whole scene in a single post-processing effect, the gun is now there. So it's applying the SSAO from the world behind it on top of it. So we see the outline of the walls, like the creases, over the gun. The correct solution is probably to render the entire gun in and do all the post-processing effects separately into a separate render buffer, entirely separate, and then composite them over the top. I'm really trying to avoid that because it's an awful lot of plumbing and an awful lot of duplication that I don't really want to do right now. What I'm trying to do now is stuff a mask value into the 4-component normal map, right, using the alpha channel, so that when I get to the tone mapping stage, I sample the normal map again, and then I look at that alpha component and I basically say, do I need for this fragment to apply the occlusion from the world, right? And that is not working. What seems to be happening is it's doing something else. The double lighting render pass isn't using the time map. What I think is happening, it's hard to tell. I think there's the transparency is filtered through. It's kind of a different render pass. It's multiple. It's a different. It's rendered in a separate pass, but into this same G buffer and light buffer, which I'm worried is my problem. Well, I'm trying to render the mask alongside the gun, but I've stuffed it into the normal map, right? Because I grab the mask here, the scale, what you want to do, and I basically say that I take the maximum value between the current occlusion value and the inverse of the scale, so I can use 0 to represent don't apply it. What uses the normal after we set it? Yeah, I think that's a good one. So that was color. Was it bindless handle 1? So that just creates it. Let's set this up. So the light pass does use it. Oh, the light pass does use it. Interesting. So that uses. But it just reads the XYZ from it. Yeah. Okay. What else uses it? So both those use it. SAO obviously uses it. And then the tone map uses it. So it's only used by the SAO that always sets it to 0, so that effectively removes that component anyway there. And then tone map, I only just introduced that. Hang on, let's go back to just it without that. So if we narrow this down. Okay, so there's something going on here, right? Because I'm not even... Unless that is just the SSAO. No, because it's got colour coming through it. Oh, that's weird. Look at the... I can't use render doc because I'm using binary textures, which it doesn't support. Is that in the debug view as well? So this happens anyway, right? Look, you can see this going through. Right, so hang on, what was if I select... Let's go back to renderer. What if we set this to 1? Yeah, I mean, this could all be wrong, right? Yeah, you're right. It's something to do with the way I split the post-processing. Okay, right, let's... So we render out the buffer, we do the light, we render out the whole scene and do the lighting pass for it. We then, if the post-processing enabled, blah, blah, blah. So doubles, yeah, I just... No, because it should set it over it, shouldn't it? The lighting... Do you see what I mean? Like, this should... Yeah, okay, fine. Let's... Here's the easy way of doing it. Let's... I suspect the correct answer is a proper second buffer, render it into that, apply the... And then you just apply the post-processing effects to it. And then composite them. I really thought this would work. I'm kind of a bit too deep in this now. Well, we'll go for a little bit longer and we'll see what we get to. This might be something that we just finish off next stream when I've kind of... I can attack the problem of rewriting the multipass renderer afresh. Oh, that was sad. Why was that sad? Oh, probably because I still need to set this, don't I? You're right. It might add to it. No, I don't think it does because it loops through all the lights. Okay. See, look, that's fine, right? It's not doing any double lighting there, as far as I can tell. That looks absolutely fine. Well, because you before you do the lighting pass, it will accumulate it internally, right? But no, I don't think it doesn't sample the existing light color. Basically, I don't think it adds to it. I think it sets it. And that I think kind of proves it, right? Because without those processing effects, so which post-processing effect is it? The problem is that they're all kind of so intertwined, it's hard to... Let me just execute it even though I don't blend it in. Okay, that's fine. I bet it's the tone map, which is the bit that actually accumulates them all together. Because none of these will affect the output, right? But I reckon if we now enable the tone mapping pass, oh yes, you're right. Oh, all right, pig zero this. Is that it? Is it blank? It is. Okay, great. I suspect it's because we don't have... And let's just go... This is wrong. I don't... That's one. See, that should be... Hang on, shouldn't that be 0? Yeah, okay, so that was... Oh, I think I had that wrong value set, which doesn't actually help at all. Let me just check this again. Oh, sorry, that was a bit of a waste of everyone's time. That I think I had the wrong value set. Yeah, they are all intertwined, but yeah. Ah, now, isn't that interesting? There we go. So all I'm doing is, yeah, I had it set to disabled, right? So somewhere in the let's set the final to be the G buffer program RT dot. Let's do that to the G buffer RT. I'm hoping it will just select the. It should just select the first render target, which is the albedo one. The double colon is a sort of visual note to myself that it is. I use that on things that I didn't write, so platform code and third-party code. That's so when I'm glancing down, I just know that I didn't write that. It also instantly kicks off the autocomplete, which is kind of useful as well. Okay, fine. Oh, bright. Ah! Okay, so somewhere in the, I'm going to guess the light pass then. I don't No, I think go back where? Where? Can you? I can't see it. This normal here is from a function. Yeah, this is from the calculate point line function, which takes it in as a vec3, right? And then if you look at where you call this, we pass in the normal, which is here, which is XYZ. I just want to work out why that W component is messing with me. It's obviously here now. Because the G buffer fragment you see here we just set the out color once, like we accumulate it in this new variable, but it doesn't ever read from the original one. And I don't, unless it's something to do with the blend mode, because it's rendering over the top. Oh, hang on. Thoughts. Okay. So before here, can I do? Is it GL end? Is it just mixing? It might not be a transparency thing. It might just be mixing the two together because I've told it it might have some inherent blending going on. Whereas I want to just straight up slap it over the top. We'll probably need to do that for the G buffer as well. And the only thing I think of is this. Is that how you, is it GL blend? Is that how you enable it? I enable GL blend in the window, so let me disable it for those two. Yeah, I mean I definitely enable GL blend. I will check in a second. Because it does have a mix and the alpha is different, so I do wonder if it's blending the normals weirdly. Oh, no way. No way. I'm such a genius. Okay. Now I've got to enable all the other effects and hope that everything comes back how it should do. Is that right? Let's go for broke. Do I need to clamp the notification? Oh, mate, there's probably loads of unclamped misery going on here. I just... I want to stop. No, I'm enjoying this, but... You know, it's tough. Oh, God damn it. I think that is just the SSAO coming through, though. Because if you look here with it, it's fine there. But if I enable post-processing, yeah, you can see this line here coming through from underneath. But if I disable it, so now it's just not doing my filtering, probably in the tone. Ah, because I removed it. Tit. No, once the lighting pass is done, we have a single buffer, which is what I want, and then you just do all the processing effects on that. Do I need to clamp notification? Is that what you were talking about? Is that what you were... God damn it. If so, great spot. What game did I make? I've just made a mess at the moment, mate. And an absolute pig's ear of it. Need a max on that. God damn it, I hate everything. So right. Why one buffer instead of 3? I don't understand, sorry. Oh, God damn it. Oh, we're so close. We're so close. It is just the SAO coming through. I'm pretty sure of it. Can I... yeah, it's... Okay, fine. So why is that happening? So the only thing... Unless the... So it does set that over the top, right? And I set it to be 0 when I don't want it. So 1 minus that. So frustrating. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, we might need to render it out. So many buffers, mate. Buffers for days. Right. What's interesting is I still have... I don't think it's not being set, that mask value correctly, right? Because I can see it in the normal map render, and surely if it was setting that with transparent pixels, it wouldn't see it. Right, let's do execute gun buffer pass again. So it definitely sets that to 0. So if I set that to 1, does it make any material difference? It shouldn't do, because it should still be applying it over the top from behind. Oh, so frustrating. Yeah, it's absolutely bloody mess. So my concern now is that what I mean, I'm using separate. They are separate buffers, right? Yeah, no, they are separate buffers. This is the accumulation phase. This is where I'm trying to combine them back together in tone mapping. So that should be 0. And we don't. We bind that. We're definitely writing to it. I just don't understand why that component is not going through. Let's go. Once I set it all to like 0.0f, once I make the whole normal map transparent. No, it's fine. There's quite a lot to catch up on. It is a deferred renderer. Okay, so now why is the lighting only on the gun when I've set? Why? Something weird going on here. It's only rendering the gun normals, right? It's also why is it only rendering that when I've said explicitly make the out normal 0? Why do I read the normal in? Oh, because they're packed, aren't they? Oh, shit. Is this because normals are packed? No, can't be. No, that's just the texture, isn't it? No, sorry, getting confused. Other normal in normals are the G buffer. The one. This is the packed. That's fine. This is actually sampling it from the texture where they're compressed in the red green component, and then I set it to the out texture here. With us, but why is that? I don't understand why on the second pass through. It could be the blend. If GL blend is disabled, does it still overwrite the alpha component? Because there should be no lights on anything, right? Unless something's. Right, execute gun buff pass, right? If we'll set the depth range to that. Where do we bind the... There you go, we bind the render target there. I can't understand. Is it that line 27? No, this is just doing the transform. This is just sampling from the normal map, the texture file associated with that renderable, and then because it comes down to a three component, right? And I just set the transparency here to be 0, but I don't understand why the gun is on the second pass is not getting that, especially when I've OpenGL disable blend overwrite alpha. I might have to ask the Oracle. I really don't want to. Don't know. I feel like I cannot fathom why the second pass is not setting that to 0. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing I fundamentally do not understand. Whoa, set separate breadcrumbs RGB and alpha, GL blend func separate. What is that? Also, what do you want me to do? GL blend func. Do I need to? Oh. I don't have that. I'm gonna have to go and find it. But which values do I? But why do I want that at all? When I don't want any. I don't want any blending, right? I want it just to overwrite the value. Does that make sense? Where do I create? Render target. It's not something stupid like don't have an alpha component. Is it because I don't have an alpha component? But then how was I getting blending anyway? Doesn't it extend it to have a fourth component whether you like it or not? Didn't we have this problem before? here? What's this? What is this horrible? I'm just going to quickly hack on this code, which we've not actually touched in absolute ages, so that's absolutely fine. Let's change them all. Disable GL alpha test before binding the textures helps. Okay, right. It doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I cannot fathom why I've hard coded that to 0. It's clearly 0 for the first pass, and then the second one is like, no mate, it's no longer 0. Okay, well that's not made a slight bit of difference. Why is that? Oh, hang on. Oh. So that now is no longer putting the alpha value in. Let's do G buffer. So if I change this to umask, it's probably the last thing I'm going to try, so we'll have to give it a break. I have to probably come back to this afresh. Wait, is that it? No, surely not. Surely not. Surely not. Like the last. Well, it's obviously always the last thing you try because you stop trying after that. But was that it? Was that because I didn't have a? Is it because I explicitly didn't have an alpha channel in my frame buffer? Absolutely wild. Why was it letting me write? What data was I writing to? Oh, was it overflowing? No. Anyway, what do we think? Are we happy? What does it look like in the debug view? So I get a black outline in the normals, which I'm kind of okay with. It's not ideal, but it will do. So if I select the camera, look through it, and then enable post-processing, I think we're doing it. I might seem a little bit unenthused here because I don't really know how to react because I was absolutely not expecting that to work. We've fixed it, mate. We can now render the gun on top of everything with no SSAO artifacts. That is literally the goal of today's stream. Slightly over, but it doesn't matter. What a resounding success. I am absolutely chuffed with that. I think it's all coming together now. Right, let's do some commits. Let's seal this misery in. Jesus. Right, that I started working on last time, so I'm not going to commit that now. Let's hang on. Scene. Separate gun in scene. Done. Add F16 RGBA texture type. Just a cheeky little texture change there, or I was not expecting to make today. And then this is basically, there's not really much choice to this, but just like render gun on top. All right, what stream number we're at now? 55. My goodness. That's lazy git. You can find my dot files, which has basically everything I've set up. So when I do work on particles, I want to do particles soon because I really want to do a GPU-based particle system. I think that would be really cool with like compute shaders. And then we can sample the depth map, because what I want to do is, right, I want to shoot a wall and I want sparks like just fucking fly off that and bounce around everywhere. That's what I want. And I'm pretty like, sometimes you gotta have confidence that you can do it. I've no idea how to do it. I've never done it before. I'm pretty sure we'll figure it out. Yeah, it's certainly getting there. I'm really pleased with that. Right, next stream, which will most likely be Sunday, because I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't be Sunday. I don't really know. I don't really know what to do next. It depends on really how much time I get between now and then, because I want to finish getting the lights integrated into the hierarchy. Is there a log of the past stream's large decisions? It's all in the VODs, I'm afraid, and the Git history. I think the next thing to do will be... You're back just in time for us to finish. We've got it all sorted and it looks absolutely pucker. I think the next thing to do will be to lift and shift the geometry into Jolt on a separate collision layer so we don't interact with it in the physics world. Oh, it's going to draw it as well. That's going to be fun. Anyway, problems later. But we can then do raycasting through it. So then, when we wire it up to click, we should draw a little box aligned on the exact triangle where we hit, aligned to the surface normals. And then that way we know we've done that. And then once we're doing that, we can add an enemy manager and start shooting and taking stuff out. Like one click done. And then there's a whole load of other stuff to add after that, because I want to do proper... I don't think we can do gun tuning, okay, until like all the visual bits are there, because I don't think it makes any sense without the whole piece being there. Like I want to tune, like I want like gun magnetism, right? So I want it like if you're just a little bit off of a headshot, it'll snap you to the headshot. I want to be able to tune like firing times and damage, whatever things, damage outputs. I don't think it makes sense until it's all there, because I feel like we'd be tweaking part of the picture. So offload the picking into Jolt will be the next thing. Yes, exactly. Yeah, sorry. I want to be able to do the it'll bend the bullet towards the head. Yes, sorry. You are correct. But again, like I want to be able to tweak how strong the magnetism is. Does it go to the head? Does it go to the body? It might depend on the weapon. I don't think it makes sense to kind of start tweaking all that until everything is kind of there, because then you want to shoot. I want to bend the bullet. I want the recoil. I think that you have to kind of tune the whole thing as a package. So how do we get to the package is offloading the collision section to Jolt and getting all that wired in, getting some things that we can kind of shoot and like disappear or push back, or something happens when you shoot them, and then we want to do recoil, so that's harmonically dampened springs or whatever the maths is for that. Then I think sound is going to be quite important, and then muzzle flash. Basically we're just going to have to I think we just have to keep charging through and keep adding the features, because these are all required to make the gun feel good. I think this feature is like, I don't know how long this gunplay branch is going to go on for, because we might have to stop and do audio separately, but like we have to do... I see relay animation I think is kind of out of scope for now, because I don't have like an arm rig. I definitely don't have any plans to do IK or anything like that. If I can find an asset for it, yes, but I keep it simple. Like I don't think the reload animation is the core part of the gameplay, but I think all the other bits I said are. So I think we'll just start charging through it. I think we just start charging through all those features. Like we should end up at a point where the gun feels really nice to run around, shoot. There's things to shoot. It interacts with the world. It flashes light. It plays sound, and then like then skeletal animation. Yeah. Okay, that's all I've got. Thank you very much for spending your time. Oh, let's see if you're on Twitch. If we were raided, so I feel obligated to see if there's someone we can move you on to. Only if there's someone doing CPPs. Same category. Search and filter by tag. CPP. Building a programming language in C++ with no AI. Go on then. I think we might have. I think this is like the world's most polite streamer. Yep, the repo's all public. if someone wants to do bang source, whatever it is. Anyway, thank you very much for spending your time with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I think we got a lot done, and I've really enjoyed it, which has been good, and we'll do it all again soon. I'll see you all anon.